I got this computer off Facebook Marketplace for $200, which sounds like a great deal, but once I got it home and opened it up, probably the best score I had yet. The 2080 GPU and the 850 watt power supply is what caught my eye. I figured if nothing else, just those two things alone would be worth the 200 bucks. But it also had a listing of a couple other things that weren't half bad. It's got a 2700X CPU and brand new RAM. I'll put the listing up here and you guys can help me decide if it's a great score or not. After giving it a quick wipe down, the thing already looked a lot better. We'll take the side panel off here. It's not the greatest of a case, but it's not bad. And for 200 bucks, you can't really complain. So I did a couple small things in here, and the first thing I noticed when I opened it up is there was 3 sticks of RAM. So I guess he had replaced one and one went bad. So it was really at 24 gigabytes of RAM. These two are 8 gigabytes of RAM sticks. I took one out because 24 is kind of an odd number and one would be running in a single channel. The next thing I noticed is it was listed as a 512 gigabyte SSD. However, you've got this 980 Pro 2 terabyte down there. That wasn't listed. And then I started looking around at the GPU and I saw these over here. And these are actually going to a water cooler. So this is a hybrid GPU. So it's got a fan on here, but it's also liquid cooled on top of being the single fan over here. So that's actually it's a Seahawk, MSI Seahawk, which is slightly rare in this thing for a GPU. So that kind of brought the value up. But another thing I noticed is if we take this other side panel off over here, I actually did not catch this until I booted into Windows to see if everything else was working. But on the back here, I'm not even sure you'll be able to see it here, but hidden in the back here is a 4 terabyte, 2.5 inch SSD. So, and also the 850 watt power supply is a Corsair RM850X power supply. It's a gold rated power supply, and it is a modular power supply. So it has the thing that was listed, which were good or better. So the PSU is a good quality. The GPU is a good quality, and it's a liquid cooled or a hybrid one. And then it had the 2 terabyte on top of the 512 that was listed, and a 4 terabyte, 2.5 inch. Let's take a quick recap and see what we got for $200. So I bought a fully functional working PC with a 2080 hybrid, which has got the radiator in the back, liquid cooled, and a single fan on it. It's an 8 gigabyte card. Solid 1080 high gaming, maybe ultra high. Depending on the game, it could even be a 1440 card. It's got a 2700X. I have a 512 gigabyte SSD, NVMe of course, and then I have a Samsung Pro 980, 2 terabyte, and I have a 4 terabyte, 2.5 inch SSD in the back. And I also have a Corsair 850 watt power supply and 16 gigs of RAM, plus the one 8 gig RAM stick that I'm keeping in a drawer for testing in case I think I might have bad RAM. Yeah, we got all that in a case and everything works. Windows is already on it. I've already gamed on it to check it out. Of course, my first thought was, it's already a working PC. I only paid 200 bucks. Let's just wipe it down, clean it up real good, and we'll sell it for $400, maybe $450, spend a profit. But where's the fun in that? I'm your average tired dad and I love tech, so let's build a computer, not flip one that we already bought. So I got a new case. We're gonna stick all the components in. The holdback right now is gonna be the CPU, so I thought, well, why not replace the CPU and then I can charge a little bit more and have an even better product. Well, then that would leave me with a separate CPU that I would have to do something with. So I thought my next plan is I'm gonna take the good stuff out of this, like I'm gonna take the 2080 out and I'm gonna take the 850 watt power supply out. I have a 3060 and a 3060 12 gig and a 5700 XT AMD card. So that would probably pair better with the 2700X, and I can leave it in this case. But then the power supply is gonna be a little overkill. I also happen to have a 650 watt power supply laying around that's non-modular. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the 2 terabyte out, the 4 terabyte out, the GPU, and the PSU. So basically I'm gonna keep the RAM, motherboard, and processor, and the fans of course, inside this case, and then I'm gonna put a little bit cheaper parts back in it, and that'll have a solid computer, and then I'll leave the 512, that's the only one I'll leave in there. And then what that'll do is that'll give me a really budget 1080 gaming PC, and I can sell that for a couple $100, recoup my money, and then I'll take the GPU and the power supply and use that. And I picked up a AM4 motherboard with a 5700X. Yeah, I got another 16 gigabytes of RAM, so that will give me another computer again. Like I said, I have an extra GPU laying around, so we have lined up for 2, possibly 3 more builds, but either way we're gonna have 3 or 4 more builds. So make sure you guys subscribe and keep watching and see where this thing goes and what we can actually get out of it.